All right, everybody, welcome back to Champions Round and our discussion of the World Cup. We have finished the group stage and we are on to the knockout stage. So we already went over our picks and such for our group stage winners. We'll get to those in a little bit, but let's take a look at the group stage winners here. And before I do that, let's just kind of introduce the panel here. Of course, I'm Jeff Haseley, and we're joined by Dan Turner and Matthew Minnis. Guys, what'd you think of this of the knockout, or excuse me, of the group stage? It kind of went by fast, didn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely it seemed like it just started and now it's over. I think it was really shocking. There were a lot of big name teams that even the three of us thought that we go through and didn't. Group F in particular just blew everyone like expectations out of the water. So it'll be really interesting to see with these these up and coming teams that a lot of people didn't see going through how they'll perform in the round of 16.
Yes, and we will get to our bracket picks a little bit later, but Group A, Netherlands, which is the team that the U.S. is going to have to play in the first round, or actually, excuse me, I should say second round of action. Them winning the group, that was kind of the chalk play. What about Senegal? What did you guys think of Senegal or Ecuador for that matter? Did Ecuador didn't necessarily play up to the level of expectation, or Senegal just kind of exceeded theirs?
I think for me, what that Ecuador Senegal game was kind of going to be the deciding factor on who went second in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had a late penalty at the end of the game, and it just seemed like Senegal. For me, in terms of the atmospheres, they're one of my favorite teams to watch in all of the World Cup this year. Their fans, I feel like they deserve to go through, and they play really well as a team. So I'm excited to see what they can do in the knockout stages.
Yep. All right. Well, that's good. That's what we're going to see, the Netherlands against the U.S. and of course, England advancing in Group B. England, my gosh, where are they in your overall rankings of all the teams that are remaining? Dan, what do you think? England.
I think they're like up there, like
Are they a Final Four team?
No, I don't think they are still. I think they had that huge result with a bunch of goals at the beginning of the group stage, but they played the United States pretty tough, and they have looked good. I just don't know if when they play these more explosive offenses that they'll see in the next round, if they'll be able to pull through. I mean, they've done well. Obviously, I didn't pick them to advance, so that was bad for me. But I think they look better than I thought they would. But I still don't think it's good enough for them to make it to the Final Four.
Matt, what do you think? Is England a Final Four team?
I'm gonna go the other way here. I think England is good enough to get to the Final Four. We saw what they did in the Euros a few years ago. Their offense is incredible, and they have so many talented players. I think Harry Kane picked up an injury, so we got to see how he looks. But I think with the right matchups here, they could. I know we're going to talk about this a bit, but I believe it's in 2 rounds from now we could see England versus France, which would be awesome and an extremely tough matchup. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, to answer your question, I do think England is a Final Four team.
Interesting. And looking at Group C, obviously Argentina lost the first game to Saudi Arabia, and that was a huge shocker. But then they turn around and win the next 2 and win the group. Maybe because Mexico and Poland couldn't really get out of their couldn't figure it out. But of course, Poland did advance. I think I don't know what it came down to. They were tied. Goal differential was tied, and I think they went on.
It came down to yellow cards, like whatever. I couldn't believe that.
Fair play. All right, Poland is better than Mexico in terms of yellow cards. Fair play, we'll call it that. But sportsmanship. All right, talking about Group D, I want to talk about Denmark because they were a team that Matt, you and I, and Dan, we all kind of thought Denmark was going to be some sort of a player in this group stage, and they can't even get out of that. I mean, they beat France twice this year, and in preparation for the World Cup, but they struggled. And then Australia, wow, the Socceroos. I don't know. I was kind of shocked with this. Of course, France winning doesn't surprise me, and there was that curse of World Cup winners And then the next World Cup, looks like France has kind of put that one to bed, at least for now. But Australia winning, that's a surprise, and Denmark out. That's big.
Absolutely. I think in relative to expectations, Denmark's probably one of the biggest, disappointments in this entire, World Cup. They didn't score like really at all.
One goal they scored.
Yeah, over three matches. I mean, that's crazy. I don't think, when we were doing this before the tournament, if you told us that they would score one goal over 3 games, none of us would have taken that bet. Really, it shows like how disappointing they truly were.
Yeah. And then Group E, guys, Japan beating Germany and then beating Spain. Taking the group, but of course Spain advances as well as the second team. But Japan, Dan, you called it. You called Japan winning the group.
You did.
Props to you for that. I mentioned it a little bit in my, I said, what if Japan beats Germany and Spain?
Yeah,
which happened, but I didn't have Japan winning the group. I was just kind of like throwing that in there. I did have them beating Germany, and I was kind of not high on Germany going into this, and it turned out to be. Now they have just one win in 9 matches, I think is what it's back to.
Something like that, yeah.
But I still like Spain. I think they're a strong team. And we'll get into the bracket here in a little bit to see who each team plays. But Japan, they're looking good. They're what's the word? They're tactically strong, and I think maybe mentally strong as well. Their coach, if you've seen him, or manager, what you want to call it, he seems like when watching him, he doesn't really get emotional. He's kind of like Mr. Miyagi. It's like, he expects to win, expects to be there. And I think that he exudes that on his players and such. So Japan's an interesting and a good story. So is Morocco. And that's the Group F that we were talking about before, which was just all blown up. Morocco wins the group. Everyone thought that they might finish last. And then Croatia takes second. Belgium out. All those chances for Lukaku at the end of the last game, it seemed like within 12 minutes he missed 3, maybe even 4 chances in terms of goals. And then Canada was they couldn't get it done. They struggled. So I want to hear from you, Matt, about Canada, what their struggles were, and if you want to talk a little bit more about this group as well.
Yeah, I think for me defensively they were just so poor. I mean, the last game they played, the way they started, they get conceded on a terrible mistake within the first 2 or 3 minutes. I was so high on Belgium and Canada, and they both didn't make it out, which for me, I think Belgium is by far the biggest disappointment of the entire tournament, just because this really was their last real chance with their golden era. Mm-hmm. And, anytime you have a player as good as Kevin De Bruyne and you cannot make it out of the group stage, and what we both, I don't think anyone, maybe some people had Belgium finishing second, but I don't think really anyone had Belgium not making it out. But Morocco was fantastic. Croatia and Luka Modric got it done. Canada, they're young, and with the World Cup being in the United States and Mexico and Canada in 2026, hopefully they can, continue to build on what was their first appearance in how long. Had they ever been to the World? I don't even know if they'd ever been to the World Cup. I know they didn't have a World Cup win. So I'm disappointed, but for me, Belgium was the one that really let me down.
Yeah. Dan, any thoughts?
No, I think Matt said it perfectly. I mean, we all really expected Belgium to do much better than they showed, and Morocco, credit to them. They just came in. They had outstanding defense. They only had 1 goal against the entire group stage. So it was really a factor that I don't think anybody, even especially us, considered when we were doing these picks. So that really helped them, I think, going forward to see how well they can do.
Yeah, they kind of literally came out of nowhere, and now we have to really think about, how far are they going to go? Yeah. We'll get to that. Brazil winning Group G, not a surprise. Switzerland taking second, interesting. They played pretty well. Any thoughts on Group G here on Switzerland? Brazil dominating. Can they do it without Neymar? Is Neymar going to be back? If he is back, how well is he going to play? Blah, blah, blah. So your thoughts there. I know the United States, if they were to win, they would play Argentina. If they win, they would most likely play Brazil. So they're in Brazil's side of the bracket. That's something to consider. I don't know. You guys thoughts on Group G?
Well, I think for Group G, I mean, we all, like we said, we all thought Brazil was going to win, and they seem to win the group with relative ease. It didn't really seem like they had to exert a ton of effort in any of their games to get the result that they wanted. Serbia and Switzerland was close. I mean, the game just ended earlier today, and it was a good game. 3-2. So they were both ended till the end. It was really interesting to see how Switzerland does coming up.
All right, sounds good. Portugal winning the group. We had Uruguay. All of us. We had Uruguay winning the group, and then Portugal second. Portugal takes first. Uruguay doesn't make it, but South Korea does. I'm a little bit impressed with the Portugal team. They're playing better than I thought, but I also think that they haven't really had that much of a challenge yet. So I'm curious to see how they're going to play in the bracket stage. Dan, your thoughts on Uruguay?
I don't want to talk about it. No. I mean, it was they disappointed quite simply. They needed to play much better in the first two games, especially they had their chances against South Korea, especially in the first game, and they didn't take them. So their offense didn't seem to want to wake up until the third game, and then by then it was out of their hands and too late, and that's why South Korea advances. So I think that overall their lack of offensive prowess in the last third in most of their matches is what did them in.
Yep. All right. Well, those are our group stage winners. Now let's kind of see how we did with our picks, shall we? Let's take a look at Dan's picks. Dan, you got 9 correct. That's not too bad. Looking at these picks here, is there one that you wish you could take back?
Probably group
Mexico or Poland, maybe.
Yeah, probably Mexico.
Yeah.
Maybe give them a little too much credit.
You got Switzerland, Brazil, right? You got that group correct.
I did get that right. So that was
that. Took the United States, but England, you missed on them.
Yeah, that England was probably the one I wanted to take back the most because I just didn't give them anywhere near the kind of credit that they deserved for how they performed in the group stage. So that's probably, I mean, easily my biggest miss is having Wales in there over England.
All right, let's take a look at Matt's picks. Matt, 8 correct.
I look at like the bottom half, and Group F was just not pretty to me. Even like I wish it's funny because some of the teams I was the highest on, as we talked about before, Belgium, Denmark, like I even liked Germany, as you can see, more than I like Spain. And it's just like Mexico and Poland was kind of a toss-up for me, as well as Serbia and Switzerland. So I was on the wrong side of both of those. But I think another thing we haven't really talked about, but like the first week of the World Cup, there was like 4 or 5 0-0 0-0 draws that like there was none in the previous World Cup. And for like it just felt like we couldn't see any goals. And it's obviously turned since then. But I'm excited though, because I'm so happy the United States made it through, because that was like the one pick where I was like, I probably am going to lose this, but I'm American. I can't not pick the US. So.
At least you guys picked the United States.
Yeah.
Right.
I unfortunately did not. Here I am supporting the red, white, and blue here. I am a diehard fan. I just, for whatever reason, I thought that maybe they weren't going to, rise to the occasion. I don't know. Maybe I was trying reverse psychology.
11 is
you won.
11 is crazy.
11, right?
Yeah. If I had the U.S., it would have been 12.
That's insane.
But yeah. So I think looking back, I had Belgium also winning the group. We've all had Uruguay winning the group, and they didn't make it. Denmark also was another one that we all missed on, but yeah, not too bad. Anyway, those are my picks. Let's take a look at the bracket now. And if I could, I kind of want to go through the bracket with each of you. We'll start with you, Matt.
Yes.
Let's take a look at top from at the top, Netherlands and the United States tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen here?
Oh, we already know. I got to get US. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going US there. I think I I love the Cinderella story with Australia, but I'm going to Argentina. Do you want me to go down, or how do you want me to fill it out? Or do you want me to do that top? You tell me.
Go down
Okay.
like you're doing now. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna stay with Japan. I'm riding the hype. I'm taking Japan. I like Brazil as well. On the other side, I'm going England, France, and then I think I'm gonna go Spain and Portugal. There's some really, really, really tough match. Like that wasn't too bad, but I feel like afterwards it gets really hard.
I tell you what, Spain and Portugal, if they face off against each other, that'll be interesting.
France and England. Oh my gosh.
France and England. Yeah. Wow. Right. Brazil, Japan. It's got a little bit of interest. United States have only allowed 1 goal, right? The entire tournament. Yeah. Granted, they've only scored 2, right? I think is what it is. But their defense is playing well. Obviously, Matt Turner has 2 clean sheets. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they could potentially beat Netherlands. Of course, Netherlands is favored, just like Brazil is going to be favored against Korea. But have we seen enough from Brazil to absolutely stamp them in against a fairly sound tactical team like South Korea? I don't know, man. I'm not sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some sort of penalty kick winner in this here happening here, South Korea and Brazil. I don't know. I want to say that this is a good matchup for South Korea and a poor matchup for Brazil. Does that sort of make sense? I think that maybe they could get them while they're down, if they're down. Anyway, just some thoughts there. Matt, who's your final 4?
My final 4, like if you had to tell you, I'm gonna go Argentina. I'm so boring with this. Argentina, Brazil, France, and just because I want to, I want to somehow see, like, I think a Messi Ronaldo. I don't think it's gonna happen, but a Messi Ronaldo final would break like any like record in terms of viewership, and I think the entire world would watch that. So I'll go Portugal.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. And then who wins and what's the third place, do you think?
You're
on the line here. This is your pick.
I know. I was hoping some other people could go. You know what? I'm going to stick with what I said before. I have Brazil in the final, and I think they're going to play France, and I have Brazil winning the whole thing. So there you go. There's it's probably they're the favorites going to the tournament, so I'm so like lame for this, but I like Brazil. I think they have so much depth, and hopefully Neymar can come back at some point.
Yep. All right, Dan, your turn, buddy. What do you think is going to happen? Any upsets that you see at all?
All right, yeah, I think a couple seeing. So obviously I have to pick the U.S. To beat the Netherlands. I think Argentina takes care of Australia. I think Japan goes through against Croatia, like you said before. They're just so technically sound that. They're probably, I mean, to me anyway, they're probably top 2 most technically sound, teams at this tournament. I think Brazil beats Korea, England, France. I think Morocco beats Spain.
Wow!
I think Morocco has shown that they should be taken more seriously than they are. So I won't make that mistake again. And then Portugal will beat Switzerland.
Okay. All right. And then for your final 4, what do you have?
My final 4 will be Argentina. Japan beats Brazil. It's the final 4.
There it is.
Then, yes. And then it will be France. And you know what? I'm going to ride the Morocco train. I think they make the final 4 too.
Whoa, man. All right. This is turning into like March Madness here with our bracket.
It is.
Pretty cool. Hopefully there's going to be like at least a little bit of uncertainty on this. All right. So then who wins?
Well, I had Argentina winning the entire thing. And after the first game, I was sweating it a lot after that loss. But I still think they win. I think they face the France in the final and beat them. And then Morocco wins the third place game.
All right. Okay. All right. Here's my picks. I think the United States will beat the Netherlands 0-0, 1-0, 1-1, something like that, and if it comes down to extra time, maybe they score. I'm not sure if we get the penalty kicks. I think the United States just outlasts them somehow. They're strong. I think they've got that brotherhood working for them, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. I think they'll lose to Argentina, though. Well, hold on. I'll get to that. Japan and Croatia. I think Japan advances. I think we all agree with that. Brazil and South Korea. I think this is South Korea's chance to beat Brazil, but I think Brazil takes it. But I do like the possibility of South Korea perhaps upsetting Brazil. Maybe they're up 1-0, 2-1, something like that. But Brazil somehow wins. Over on this side, England and Senegal. I think England advances, and we get England and France versus each other, and I think France advances. I think Spain and Morocco. Spain beats Morocco, and I think Portugal beats Switzerland. So we're going to get Portugal and Spain. I think Spain advances. We do not get Ronaldo any further. And then looking at the final four, Argentina versus Brazil. I mean, that's just waiting to happen. I like that. I will take Brazil winning that match. And then England and France. I have France advancing over England, and France playing Spain and beating Spain. And it's France versus Brazil for the final. And I'm going to take the French to beat Brazil in the finals and win for a second straight World Cup.
Back to back.
A third place game, who would that be? That would be what? Spain versus, or who did I say lost? Who did I say? Argentina
versus England.
Argentina versus Spain, I think. And Argentina wins. Messi gets his third place trophy. So yeah, those are my picks. We'll see how that goes. I'm just looking forward to it. It's kind of fun to have the World Cup during the holiday season, which is definitely taking up a lot of my time. I'm spending a lot of time watching these games. Maybe not all of them, but I'm getting the highlights, and I think the Fox cast has been pretty good. Let's see. What do you think the best team is that didn't make it to the knockout stage, guys? What do you think? Dan, we'll start with you.
The best team?
The best team.
Probably. Well, it depends. I'd say Belgium. Belgium is my answer, but I think if Uruguay played as well as they did in their game throughout, like up to their potential, they'd probably be the best team that didn't make it.
Interesting. Matt, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, like I don't think Belgium played up to their potential whatsoever. I felt like Mexico, even though they didn't play great, they were put in a hard group. And the fact that they lost because they had more yellow cards than Poland, that hurts. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow. If they were in a different group without Poland and Argentina, and of course no one saw what Saudi Arabia did was going to happen, I think they probably could have gone through. Belgium for me was still like, if you look on paper and you're like, this team didn't make the World Cup, they would be my easy answer for that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, as far as Belgium is concerned, let's go back to that. Let's take a look at that. Belgium, I mean, just didn't make it, right? Denmark, of course, we could talk about them. What happened to them? Are they good enough? Should they have been good enough? Yeah, they should have, but they didn't. Germany, same thing, we can say. I think Poland might be the weakest team that's in the knockout stage. I wasn't really too impressed with them and what they did. If they're in a different group, I think they're out. Yeah, I don't know. And if I had to pick one dark horse to win it all, let's go with... Ooh, wow. Netherlands. Let's go with the Netherlands. Why not, man? Let's go with the team that might beat the United States as a dark horse. But I don't know. Classify a dark horse now. I don't know. But all right, very good. Well, guys, any further parting thoughts? Dan, anything you want to share? What's going on with Champions Round that we can tell people about?
Well, we have our Sunday's Best game that's been out for a little while, so definitely check that out. That's definitely a lot of fun. If you're going to do, if your team isn't doing well in your redraft leagues, come and play with us, and get that excitement for drafting again, and see if you can beat up your friends. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a ton of stuff on the app, so check that out for sure. guys, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but it's fun to discuss. And happy World Cup knockout stage for you guys. And hopefully we'll see the United States win tomorrow. That would be absolutely huge for the country, for the sport, for everything. I'll be watching. And we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.